happened and it's not concerning to her, which isn't good either. Otherwise, you would think they would constantly be saying, as you were kind of implying, if anybody has information, we could use it, you know. Anybody's been afraid to come out, whatever. I mean, many situations like that when you don't know for sure. And I would think Erica would want to know 100%, if anybody about their spouse would want to be 100% sure before you put it to rest and not bringing up the questions. And as you said,
she's too busy telling
report.
She's too busy telling you that Charlie was Hebrew and wants to sell you his book.
Shabbat Shalom, family.
You can't make this shit up, dude. It's fucking crazy. Go ahead, Lila.
Yeah, you can make it up. What I had on my mind tonight, I wanted to tell you guys. So they're all going to be speaking next week, and I think it's going to be interesting when Tucker talks, right? So he's kind of like entering the picture right now of this whole discussion. He's down.
Did you listen to that all day? The whole thing? He actually said.
No, I saw a snip of Egypt.
He actually said he was going to stay out of it, and this is why, because he knows all of the people involved. That was what the clip said.
Got it. I thought he said he's like, I know the Egypt stuff is a fact. Like, why would you even say that?
He didn't confirm that stuff, but then he posted a video selfie after that. It's up in the jump. Well, it's on my timeline. I don't think I put it in the Jumbotron. It's not there. But if you go to my profile, there's that whole 5-minute clip, and at the end of it, he says, because I know all of these people. I know Candace. I know Erica. I know Blake. I am going to not get involved. And that he gave himself an out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it'd be curious to see when they're on stage next week, not just the Charlie stuff, the whole Israel stuff. That it's just gonna be interesting for the GOP party, what their talking points are. So that's the only reason I'll watch. I've never been a fan of.
It is kind of like the GOP that's gonna be there, right?
It's all GOP event. It's not something they're going to invite me to. I'm more of the Steve Bannon side of the party. So, it's going to be straight GOP establishment
Bannon,
to the core.
Was pretty tight with Epstein. Not Steve Bannon?
No, I'm talking about his political hideout. He's a national populist, so he's like America first.
I'm just curious, if that was...
But I'm just saying my ideology's like Bannon. But let me just say this. This is what I wanted to say, this is why the GOP, they don't have a backbone, man. This is their chance to step up and take Candace on. And they just look weak. They've been this way since I was a little kid. Weak as hell.
What do you mean? They're using Erica right now. They're hiding under a widow's skirt to take her on.
She's the only person I'm giving a pass to because of what she's going through. Why is she the only one up, I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. And then Benny and all these people need to get exposed. They're weak, and they need to get exposed in order for the GOP to get
You mean Tim Pool's not your guy? He's not your conservative?
No.
He's not your conservative Jesus?
No.
He's not, really? People, is it because of his beanie? Or is it because of what's...
No, I'll tell you why. Even Charlie, I wasn't a fan of Charlie either. Charlie was only good for Arizona ground game. They won Trump Arizona. That was their mission. They did that. I was proud, and that was it.
The organization had massive national outreach. Like, he was not just Arizona. Their impact was
that was their right, but their goal was to win Arizona for Trump. That's why he moved there.
Yo, they got Brother Nathaniel on the stage.
Election. He's like, I'm going to win as Arizona. He did that, and I was fine and happy. But everybody else around him won't talk about the real problems with the GOP. No one's going to talk about it. They're weak. They won't stand up for any kind of
space about the GOP.
Yeah, I know.
More about
right. But they're all weak, man. They're all weak. They're all weak. Look at them. That's all I gotta say. See you, bud.
Thanks, Rilla. Maze, I don't know how long you've been listening, so hopefully your ears haven't been adulterated by these other women yet. What is your opinion on this taking the bait from Erica Kirk on Fox News this morning. Like, Erica obviously came out and said that, people were, disparaging her family at TPUSA and the Charlie Kirk show, and were making hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode doing it, and it's not right, and all of this. And then Candace, without speaking Candace's name, I should add, but then Candace did directly respond to her in her show. I thought that the Erica Kirk statement on Fox was bait to lure Candace into going after Erica, and so that they could clip it and then run it as some kind, make her, appear as some kind of villain who attacks a grieving widow. And then I believe that Candace gave them what they wanted, even though she didn't attack Erica. It was close enough to where it could be taken out of context and portrayed as such. I think that was a error on Candace's part. This is my opinion. Do you agree with my assessment or disagree? Mace?
I think she got stuck in the matrix.
I guess the only way that you can win is not to play, huh? Luna, did you watch the Candace show? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is your opinion?
I'm like pro Candace.
Usually I love having so many women on my stages, but it's I don't know. It's kind of like...
Oh, wait, Maze is back. She's back.
She's not
Yeah,
talking.
my bad. My reception's bad. I'm going in and out. But why? What'd you say?
Oh, hell no. I'm not repeating all that again.
Okay, oh wait, real quick. Just clip notes. He was
I heard
asking
the-
you. What did you think on the bait?
Fuck that
I
bitch!
said I think that the Erica spot, the Erica hit on Fox was bait to lure Candace to go after her, and I feel like Candace did what they wanted. Do you agree?
Well, I do agree that it was bait, and I agree that she did bite, but she also did carefully. So she was like, "I'm speaking to the CEO, not the grieving mom." Which, I mean, at the same time, though, it's going to be viewed as she's attacking a grieving mother regardless. Like, so I know, I just, she could have completely sidestepped it all together, but that wouldn't have been Candace. I already know. So, but I agree it was bait, and I think that this is going to probably backfire a little bit. But at the end of the day, they set her up for it, so what else is she going to do?
I mean, the only way to win those kinds of things is not to play, if you ask me, but that's just me.
What if it's their way of prepping?
It absolutely is prepping for the 15th. It absolutely
Yeah,
is.
well, the 13th, when she's going to basically, people are saying that they think that she's going to ask Candace to stop talking about the whole situation. And Candace mentioned today that she knows that she's going to bring her up by name. So what if that's just a way to, like, bait her into making it seem like you're making me want to ask you this, based off of, like, this whole situation?
What? The 5D chess where this is a play to get Candace out of keeping her commitment to quitting if Erica asks her to.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why
okay.
she responded.
I know that.
If that's what you're alluding to.
That is.
That's a possible strategy here. Zintani, please keep it serious. Otherwise, I'm going to continue on.
I'm eating popcorn in the bathtub.
Thank you, Zintani. Thank you. Be back up. Thank you. Go ahead, dog. Dog named Sam. Go ahead.
What's up, man? What's up, y'all? So I was just on the Erica Kirk thing. I've had this theory floating around in my head about what the end game of this could be, right? The possibility of it. And would you guys be surprised if we ended up, looking back at 20 years and saying, holy shit, we're witnessing ideological subversion, right? The same thing Yuri Bezmenov was talking about in 84 that we've all seen ad nauseum in front of our eyes right now, where you have a Turning Point USA in every school in America as like this, as an organization of, pushing an agenda similar to like DARE was, right? Is that totally? Is that
Do
totally?
you not think that's what's been going on for the past 20 years
It's already
with social
happened.
media?
Texas has already incorporated a TPUSA program into their high schools.
I figured. I need to know, Sarah. I'm sorry, Bills. What were we saying, Mother?
I said Florida has as well. Yeah, that's definitely what makes it so like it just grosses me out because they're obviously carrying out this broader agenda, and they're doing a Weekend at Bernie's version of Charlie Kirk to do it, right? Like invoking his name all the time to try to make it appear credible, right? And blasting his name everywhere. The empty seat at Mar-a-Lago last weekend. Like, he goes on and on. Like, I can give you 100 examples of probably just in the last 2 months of them doing Weekend at Bernie's with Charlie Kirk to continue to push this agenda. It's gross, dude. Like, I'm not gonna call it out anymore. I'm not gonna be quiet about it.
What if you poured a little shepherds on the ground, once of the homies?
What, dog?
No, that's the thing too. Is like what you were saying is there's just so much to be questioned, and it's such an open-ended question. Like, you know, you start to wonder, and you're not crazy for it, if any of this is fucking real. Which personally, you know, I don't believe it is. But to hear that, you know, I kept myself pretty distanced from it, dude, because I was just so overloaded, right? I know when I need to take a step back, but I expected to hear that, Sarah. Good looking out, Homer. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to more blacks for Trump.
Yeah, once again, we got a really great space. Yeah, I was just writing about the situation as well, and let's say if we talk about 5D chess, strategy-wise, you know, or even biblically, you know, turn the other cheek and so on and so forth. If Candace Owens said, and don't take me serious, but it's hyperbolic, to hell with Charlie Kirk, and like no skin off my back, I'm done with this matter. Today, cold turkey. You know, would everyone be happy? Would Mrs. Kirk be whole and safer? Would be done with? And let the chips fall where they may. You know, so in the hood colloquial, miss me with the bullshit, you know, and just get out. Like, you know, even on the strategy. So, like, I'm looking at this situation because we're dealing with state, we're dealing with, you know, political factions or whatever. But to think about this as something that's Machiavellian. So if you look at maybe the Netflix show about the Medicis, this is what I see happening, right? It's so deep and so crazy, and it has implications to our nation that the young man that just spoke before me, you know, is indicating. So that, you know, this is like a hostile takeover or usurpation of a very powerful organization that would have been grassroots. We have seen this over and over again. The usurpation of organization and just totally keep it as like a husk for Weekend at Bernie's and just build it out from there. Look what they built on the back of George Floyd. And they being the same people, I think, that are behind this. You know, they're whipsawing the American public, you know, every which way. And it's stagecraft, it's theater, it's everything you could think of, you know, that the CIA have mastered relative to taking over nations. So, yeah, it's some deep shit, but can't deny that it's spiritual.
Do you think Candace took the bait today? Did you hear?
I didn't hear her perspective. The fact that she's answering, she's in the thick of it. Now, if she sees my message and that ripple,
so I thought that they were trying to bait her this morning, and then
yeah, we see it. Yeah, we know what it is.
Okay, so,
but at the same time, like, you know.
But do you agree that? Do you think she should have addressed it, or do you think she should have ignored it?
Well, that's human. I think on a human level, what else can she do? What, you know, on a strategic, you know, hindsight being 20/20, or let's say all this money effery going around. Let's say she was playing that game. If she went cold turkey and said, "The hell with Charlie Kirk, I'm done. No skin off my back," would everything stop? That's in motion. Because we all know this is not even about Charlie Kirk. It's not even really about Candace Owens. And it's like we're in a theater yelling at the screen. Like, no,
That's a really good analogy.
So it's deep, but it's real. You know,
I don't really want to hear this.
Thank
it's
you.
a lot of stagecraft and showcraft and everything else. That Machiavellian shit is definitely underway. And the stakes is basically our nation, our freedom.
It absolutely is. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Reese.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on the end game. Everyone keeps talking about the end game. And I really think...
Only one person's mentioned the end game.
Okay, well, other spaces. Anyways, I think the only way we get to the end game, as of right now, is to try to but stop talking about all of the possibilities and just try to convince the majority of the public who don't really believe it. Right now, they still think Tyler Robinson did it. Try to convince all of them that Tyler Robinson there was no way that he did that.
Why would I do that? We don't know. Tyler Robinson could be the killer. I'm not going to try to convince the public that either someone is guilty or innocent. I'm going to try to convince the public that if I have evidence to support something that's being presented to them, that it doesn't hold up. That's my job. Our job is not to decide whether or not someone is innocent.
Right. I'm not trying to say he is guilty or innocent. All I'm saying is, from all of the videos I've seen, I don't think it was possible that Tyler Robinson was the killer.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Do you have a comment on the Erica Kirk and Candace Owens campaign, the psyop that's going on right now? Do you have any comments on that?
Candace absolutely took the bait, and she made another couple $100,000 today on that video, so absolutely.
I figured that might be your perspective. Let's go to John.
Did anybody see the Barry Weiss CBS interview with Erica Kirk, where Erica is extremely distraught? A lot of commentary and comments about how people are very upset with Barry Weiss as the CBS host. I don't know. To me, this is it's going to be never-ending daily churn and news, whether it's Tim Pool screaming about gunshots at his house, or Candace Owens screaming it's the Jews and Mossad, or Erica Kirk crying that Pam Bondi is doing a great job. To me, there's going to be a moment where Pam Bondi, with the release of this Epstein Transparency Act, if the victims are being protected, but that means billionaires are being exposed.
I'm talking about Erica Kirk and I want to keep this on Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk and not Epstein. You can talk about Epstein, but I want to keep it on topic. Is there something that was said during the town hall that Erica Kirk mentioned about Pam Bondi and Epstein and all that? Is that why you're bringing it up?
No, I'm just bringing it up because, Massey has passed the Transparency Act. The federal judges have announced that they're going to be...
What does that have to do with Erica Kirk and the PR campaign that she's putting out right now?
Because if you believe that Erica Kirk is shilling for the Jews or Israel or against it, I mean, to me, it's also such a...
I mean, it does seem like she's injecting the Israel ideology into the book, right? That's what I uncovered yesterday. So
I don't know what's in the book.
Am I wrong?
I don't know what's in the book, but if you think J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk are secretly in a menage a trois and he hates his wife...
You're just up here... Don't do that again, or I won't bring you up again. All right, let's go to... I'm noticing a pattern here.
It's in the news. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Bro. Mute yourself. All right, let's go to Brendan and Daniel. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me stick with Erica Kirk. She's being used. What happened when Charlie put on the TPUSA?
Zintani, take the co-host. Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, when he put on Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson unabashedly said Epstein was part of a blackmail operation, and this gave Charlie Kirk's Jewish donors, like the Marcus Foundation, like David Shulman of Cognex, the Spilkies, as we say in Jewish, okay? They didn't like it. So they held a Hampton meeting, and they put the screws on Charlie. And Charlie wouldn't abide by it. And he came out of that meeting scared. And he felt he was being blackmailed and being threatened. So now let's fast forward to Erica Kirk with her stupid handkerchief. There's no tears coming out of her. Just constantly dabbling the side of her eyelids, and it makes me sick. No one believes she's a grieving widow. No one believes it. Then Diligent, you were the one, and I saw it on your feed, or the feed, because I follow you, the Shabbat Shalom on Fox News. Now, where does the chickster like Erica Kirk get Shabbat Shalom? Okay, that's just not part of her regular. It was scripted. And I'm guaranteeing you that Bill Ackman, David Shulman, and those Jewish donors of the Marcus Foundation gave her that little script on Fox News. So this is all about the hijacking of the Jewish power of the evangelical youth. And we see this with Huckabee. He just arranged for 1,000 evangelical Protestant pastors to go to Israel, come back and convince the evangelical youth that Israel's still chosen, they're wonderful people in spite of the genocide. And this is what we all have to do who are Christians. We have to talk to the youth. We can't leave it up to Candace Owen. We all have to do it and say, hey, these are not chosen people. They are murderers. And this
that's also taking an unobjective position as well, right? Like, isn't it easier? I think, well, coming from somebody who doesn't really care either way, right? Whenever you say that, I'm less inclined to take a position. If you say, look, there is a foreign country trying to influence our youth, and they are hijacking TPUSA to do it, I'm a lot more inclined to jump on board the bandwagon of addressing that than if you try to get me to take a position on like Israel and Gaza, for example.
Okay, but I agree with you. Diligent, I agree with you. Yes. Whatever it takes to convince the youth that today's Israel is not biblical Israel, and that's what Tucker.
That's not. I think you're still missing my point, right? Like again, you are trying to sell me an ideological position that is that I don't want to go there, right? Like I have no interest in whether or not Israel is a secular or a religious state. Like that does not matter to me. And I think a lot of, at least my audience, are along the same lines. I think a lot of them care more about what's happening over here. So again, I'm trying to tell you that if you present it in a way that our college campuses and our youth are being infiltrated through foreign interests, right? And you lay that out, you don't have to try to sell me something that I'm not interested in hearing, because I really do care, regardless of the foreign interest, if they are subverting our kids, right? So, like, again, I think, am I making myself, do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand completely what you're saying. So this can be a two-pronged attack. Now, I'm talking about TPUSA. It's evangelical Christian. So now I'm trying to address the evangelical youth. But what you're saying is also very important. It's a broader brush. So why not have both? Why not attack it from both ends? A foreign influencing us. From the other end.
I don't, because if you present it as an attack, you won't sell it enough to have momentum. Okay?
Okay, then I'm on board with you. Whatever it takes.
Let me just, you asked why, so I'm trying to tell you why. That was your question. So if you present it as an attack, then I think you're going to lose people. What you have to do is show that there is a foreign influence, obviously, we saw that through the text message, that is pressuring TPUSA organization that is now wrapped up in schools, in government, colleges, churches, all of this shit, right? Provide evidence to support that to support that claim, and then show the contrast in behavior from Charlie Kirk to what's happening now. And then the American public, which is not stupid, even though they get treated like they're stupid often, they're really not. They're just busy, right? And so if you can do that in a way that will convince them, you'll see what's happening. Obviously, Turning Point USA is not being forthright or transparent with the public, and that is why their numbers and their support is going down. They can try to blame it on, they're trying to create Candace Owen as a straw man to blame what's happening on her. They're trying to blame it on other people, but the fact of the matter is it's their own fault, and they're just gaslighting to avoid that realization. But I think that when you, and this is just me, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty moderate, so I think that when you present it like, we have to take out these Israelis in TPUSA, I think you'll lose people. That's just me, though. I might be wrong.
Well, yeah, but I also think it was important that he mentioned that Mike Huckabee was meeting with 1,050 pastors this weekend, and that ties right into the TPUSA program.
Does it?
Yeah, because they're using the same programs, Bible 360 and Israel 360.
But it's not a direct overlap with TPUSA, is it?
It has to be. TPUSA is an evangelical Christian movement.
A lot of the churches that are involved are on the TPUSA faith.
I agree with Diligent to the point where we can stop short of even inserting the ideological element into the conversation, but just that it's important.
That's where you lose me, though.
It's important to note that they are using religious leaders to manipulate the general public without even mentioning the ideology.
Don't put shit in my Jumbotron.
Brother Nathaniel, I messaged you something for you to comment on outside of the space. I want your opinion.
Let's go.
So for me, it does feel like I am worried about our kids, but I'm also worried about fellow Christians too being manipulated by propaganda from a foreign nation.
Yeah, well, that's why I pointed it out, right? They're using that book to sell he was like Hebrew or something. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. It's a lie. They're using the book to sell a line, and it's important that we call it out, right? Because obviously, if they're doing that, they have an intent that's not benign, right? That's not a benign intent. You're not deceptive because you have good intentions. You know what I mean? Deception doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. So you're not going to convince me that it does. And when I saw that yesterday, I was like, it just doesn't hold up underwater. And then when I searched, I called it out when I first saw it. She did it. Again, Candace did a good job of pointing it out. She's been on all of these shows. She's gone on all of the legacy media that you don't trust. That's where she is going with her message. Okay? That's where she's going. All of the establishment media. Why is that? Why are they allowing her to do that? Because she is of that ilk, right? And that, we all know, they are the ones that sold us COVID. They are the ones that sold us lockdowns. They are the ones that sold us war. Saying.
Who did the Democrats?
Go ahead. I'm gonna have to drop it down, bro. Sorry. They are the ones that sold us war. Just saying. Were you saying something?
Democrats?
I'm gonna have to drop it down, bro. Sorry. Can't have you talking over me.
Okay.
Democrats!
Let me close with this, and I have to go. But Diligent, you were the one that brought out that Erica Kirk said Shabbat Shalom.
I did.
Yes, you were the one. Now, she was promoting this book, which is a religious evangelical Christian book. So I'm saying let's use both exposures, that we have a foreign nation trying to propagandize our youth. At the same time, let us do what Tucker Carlson said to Ted Cruz, that this nation is not the biblical Israel of the Old Testament.
We need receipts to show that she's doing it on behalf of Israel.
The
right?
Democrats?
I can show you that she is that she is inserting something that doesn't belong there, and it is associated with Israel, which is why I added the context of him leaving Israel. But that's not enough. I don't think. I think you have to have
circumstantial evidence. Okay,
right.
We have enough, I think, to pin it that she's being set up to bring back a pro-Israel.
Do you think that she? I agree. No, I 100% agree, and that's why we spoke about this yesterday. That I 100%. It does 100% look like that they're doing a weekend at Bernie's with Charlie Kirk, pretending like he's alive and he supports Israel when his last documented position was abandoning that movement, right? And so I 100% agree with that. That is happening. That's exactly what's happening. But I don't know. I need more. I don't know. I can't keep reusing. Does that make sense? I need more.
I think
need more
we have enough circumstantial evidence to show that Erica Kirk is being used. She keeps on putting this napkin up to her eye. There's no tears coming out. She's not a grieving widow. And when she says Shabbat Shalom, this is not part of her vocabulary. It was scripted. And I know we scripted it. I do have
Did you notice this, Brother Nathaniel, did you notice the judiciary?
That's you guys are getting a little bit too. You see what I'm saying? They use that kind of stuff to distract you. It's funny.
That was literal.
But I mean, it's not objective. So
I think it is enough for her to say Shabbat Shalom. That's not.
No, that's enough. No, that is enough. That is enough. It was not. We don't know. It wasn't.
And you're the one who pointed it out, Diligent.
He does. He's like the Democrats. He creates the problem and then he yells at us for being part of it.
No, I think that because here's the thing, right? And this is the misnomer with people, is that because I'll report on things if the evidence leads me to them, regardless of what they are, or some people will not do that. Because of that, they seem to think that I am all of a sudden ideologically aligned with their cause, right? And so just because I'm willing to report the truth doesn't necessarily mean that I'm ideologically aligned with your cause. I promise you that if it comes down to your cause and my cause, which is America, I'm always going to lean towards my cause. So I'm never on your team. Even if you think that something I do makes you feel that way, it's not the truth. The truth of the matter is
you say that we have a foreign nation influencing our youth.
No, you said that. I said if you want to, you said that. I said that if you want to pitch it to the American people, Israel is a murderer, you lose me, is what I said.
This is what the kids are seeing. They're seeing the genocide. They write to me all the time. They say, how can this be the chosen people? They're murderers.
Yeah, I just don't, it doesn't matter to me. I know that sounds awful.
It may not matter to you, but it matters to tens of thousands of evangelical youth who are changing their mind.
That's probably true, and maybe that's why we're seeing the infiltration of TPUSA with that ideology, which is something we talked about last time.
This is why all of us on this space, whether we want to say it's a foreign nation propagandizing us, whether we're saying what Tucker Carlson is saying, that this government today is not biblical Israel, we have to reach the youth. It can't be just up to a few. It has to be all of us.
Why not just convince people to seek the truth in their own country? Why does it, as soon as you start making it geopolitical, I lose interest.
I'm making it national. This is about Erica Kirk and TPUSA. That's the name of your space.
It is. 100% it is.
All right, I got to sign off, but
all right, appreciate
we're on the same page, Diligent. You know that. We are.
But don't try to box me in. Don't try to box me in. I appreciate it. All right, let's go.
I'm not boxing you in. I'm just trying to be a peacemaker.
Check your messages.
We have a thrust.
All right.
A common thrust.
Well, if it's about saving America or making America better, then it definitely is that.
Amen.
Let's go to Orlando.
Shout out to you, Diligent, and to your space and your co-host. I do have a concern about this situation. And I posted on many of these influencers of one of my positions is I just think there is so much attention given to this. And listen to your space now, I have a better understanding of that there are definitely questions that need to be had, and I don't know I'm not the biggest Candace Owens fan or whatever, but I don't know why so much scrutiny is happening of the questions and where all the answers are. I do question, to be transparent, just how TP is moving, and I'm from Wisconsin, and they haven't moved well in my state. So I'm not trying to jump on them, but I do question, like, it is so much in other spaces and on X alone, like this constant berating of people that I actually follow. Like, Candace is a crack case. She's crazy. And I'm like, so, but I thought being an objective thinker is to question everything. And I respect what you said, Dylan, that you report, or you want to know the news. You don't lean one side or the other. You might think we know where you lean, but we don't. You said you cover the news, and so I appreciate the opportunity just to come in your space. I hope to come to more, but I am concerned, like, so much the vitriol of Candace, and again, I'm not saying that she shouldn't be scrutinized for her claims, and she can only do so much, but I think that there is room to have question, and the whole thing was odd to me, and I landed.
Questions of what?
Man, I question. I just question how much.
Question.
You make it hard for me, Dylan. I just question the fact of, I can support a widow who's grieving, but it seems like, man, if I'm a person who lost my spouse, I'm not trying to be in a lot of. I'm hoping that this book is kind of the last kind of outwardly, position that this Kirk takes. Like, please just let the organization.
The book tour was not a good look for her credibility, I don't think.
So I'm just hoping, like, let her. I'm hoping she goes forward. I'm going to feel bad. Everybody's gonna give her attention. It's like you almost are overusing that privilege of the grieving, and it's just not because I get it. You're trying to keep the business going. So on one point where I support Candace on, like, where does the wife and the mom stop and the CEO begins, because it's like and maybe they're one of the time. Maybe that's the issue.
Where are the kids while she's doing these tours?
And maybe that's where the people who are around her, who are advising her, like, we gotta keep this going because Charlie would have wanted us to do this, or Charlie would have wanted us to do this. I'm like, man, that's none of the other guys can do this. It has to be her. Because I mean, definitely,
I would say the reason why they're using her, if I was going from a straight, objective PR move, is that the other guys aren't trusted by the public or by a lot of MAGA, including myself, and that she is a widow, and that she is, and kind of has this kind of untouchable quality to her because she is a grieving widow. Therefore, she is above scrutiny and she is above criticism because she is a grieving widow. And that is why they are all hiding behind her right now. That is why she is put up front, I think.
And I agree with you, because that's the sense I'm getting. I'm like, man, you can't say anything of contrary, because if not, then you're beating up, you're punching down, you're kicking someone while they're in the teeth when they're down. And it's like, well, man, this then you're gonna blast Candace for having the questions, but anybody who asks questions, now you are almost like victim shaming. Like, okay, well then, whatever. So I'll land there, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Let's go to Crazy Anna.
Hey, Diligent, thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So I totally agree with this topic. I think something's going on with TPU, and I was pretty neutral when everything happened, just because I didn't even know who they.
Well, that's why they're all friends. Anyway, so they're on the stage. He's talking about, I guess, the media landscape in this forum, and this is what he had to say. Listen.
Impressive. Like, Bill Ackman, same thing. Bill Ackman's worth like $8 billion or something. It's fine. I don't care if Bill Ackman, whatever Bill Ackman does. I know Bill Ackman. He's kind of dumb. He's not ever created anything. He's totally non-creative. How do these people wind up running our biggest institutions? And the reason that's significant is because if you pay close enough attention and you realize that the people running everything are, then you think, well, actually, this system is truly rigged on behalf of people who do not deserve these positions at all. It's not just that I disagree with Barry Weiss or she's calling me names or I'm calling her names or whatever. It's like in no fair system, in no meritocracy would Barry Weiss rise above secretary. Like, actually, I've been in this business I've been in this business since Barry Weiss was breastfeeding, okay? There's no world in which Barry Weiss rises to the top of a news network except a rigged world.
Well, I mean, I guess he just can't imagine where anybody would rise up to be at the top of a news agency without Muslim money. I don't know. I mean, just, thinking out loud here. I thought that was a very odd thing for him to say. He sounds resentful and bitter. And that's not a good look for anybody. Barry Weiss was at the New York Times, and she was very good at what she did. She was she's more of a moderate conservative, but she made them all look like, straight up Bolsheviks over at the New York Times. And she ended up being run out because she was too conservative for the old gray lady, and then she created the Free Press, and then that got purchased, and she's made some really smart decisions. The stuff that she does gets a lot of traction. People are really sharing their articles there. You can see the traffic online. And she didn't have to go out and get Qatari money or get Iranian money either. Just a really quick, fun thing here if you wanted to look at it. Because it's also incestual. So a lot of the money that came into creating the Tucker Carlson network is from Omid Malik, who is Pakistani and Iranian, and he has a capital, a firm that's called 1789 Capital. And I think Don Jr. actually just joined. And it's part of the Rockbridge network. He created it along with other people, including Rebecca Mercer, etc. Yeah, it's like the new thing, and they apparently they're a part of that. Kash Patel apparently co-founded or co-created that with Tucker Carlson, which I think is weird. Oh, this is all so incestuous. Wow. But he got a lot of money from a foreign government, he got a lot of foreign money. Wow. In fact, a lot of payments through this, and I'm looking at, Axios had a piece on it, but also it's just open records. You can go to Open Secrets and you can run all of the how the money shifts, and you can research it all. For instance, some of the payments for acquiring different things for his company were run through a Qatari state investment entity. It's the Al Udeid Media Fund. That's where all of the accusations about Qatari money come from. And it sounds like it's it almost sounds like it's part of like a government coordinated media laundering campaign, honestly. That's kind of what it sounds like. So I don't know if any of that's ever been disclosed publicly or discussed, but I just think that when you have things like that in your financial portfolio, maybe you should tone down your resentment of other people's success before you start lobbing bombs at them because they're Jewish. Because let's be honest, what do Bill Ackman and Barry Weiss have in common? They're Jewish, right? They're the quote-unquote hummus eaters that Tucker Carlson talks about, right? Isn't that what that is? It seems like the only objection is that they're Jewish. I don't know. I feel like if Israel had given him money, then he would be like singing the praises of Israel or something. I don't know. I just can't explain it. It's very difficult when you see someone that you thought you at least kind of knew act in a way that is completely contrary to everything that you actually initially assumed about them. To say that these people are dumb, and Bill Ackman is not a dumb guy. He is very, very smart financially. He's made a lot of really good decisions, some which might have seemed really risky. he knew what he was doing. He's made a lot of really good decisions, and he identified undervalued assets, and he built this, this company. And Barry Weiss did something similar with a media entity. So to sit here and say that they're dumb, and then to try to use your age over it, that she was breastfeeding when he was getting started, yes, and she didn't have to take Qatari money. I mean, she had to be in the pocket of a government administration in order to find success. She didn't have to sell out in order to find success. She didn't have to turn and start, repeating, really, weird rhetoric in order to try to get a slice of the digital audience pie. It just seems resentful and bitter.
I didn't say your big.
Honestly, I think that sounded silly and emotional. He sounded like an emotional
Tanya.
Oh, well, since she was breastfeeding, I've been out here, and she's further than you. So what does that say? I mean, that's kind of a self-own, is it not? Like, what happens with people? This is why I hate DC. And Lorraine reminds me, too. What is this? Is this what we're talking about when is Tucker hating America because he's criticizing other people? Because people who criticize Tucker are accused of hating America. But remember, that only goes one way. He can not even criticize. I don't even think either of those are fair criticisms. To call them criticisms means that I'm accepting that they have some form of logic, and I just don't. It just sounds resentful and over emotional. It seems like he's violating the rule that he expects everyone to follow when it concerns him, but he doesn't want to follow it when it concerns everywhere else. His new enemies to the right thing. It seems like he's got a lot of enemies, and they're all Jewish, at least in his eyes. I find that incredibly sad. When we live in an age where people can create media companies right and left, and they don't have to necessarily disclose everything. And he's using his platform to do more to tear down the right than anything I've ever seen. I don't see any of the things. If he hasn't been talking about any of these elections, Tucker Carlson hasn't been talking about any of these special elections. He's not talking about redistricting. He's not talking about the lay of the land. He's having Nazi twinks on his show, and he doesn't have the balls to push back and actually ask serious questions. And all of the people who are just desperate to be in business with him, none of them have the balls or the spines to point this out because they're terrified over jeopardizing business relationships. They don't want to jeopardize their ad network. They don't want to jeopardize any kind of investment. They don't want to jeopardize any kind of association, professional association that elevates them in the digital sphere. So they say nothing. And they pretend they don't see it. They say nothing. But this has done more to cause problems on the right than anything that I've seen from the left to date. We're all agreed that the left is crazy. But now what I see are people, it's interesting because it's like right after Qatar gets involved, and Qatar's been spending a ton of money, we're not supposed to talk about that. We're supposed to obsess and have a fetish with Israel and AIPAC, even though they donate a pittance. They spend a pittance on lobbying compared to Qatar. And it's very easy to find these monetary amounts on this thing called the internet. But we're not supposed to talk about that. We're only supposed to talk about the Jews. And we're supposed to talk about AIPAC bad. But we're supposed to celebrate Qatar, work towards partnerships with Qatar. Of all of it. Thanks for watching The Dana Show. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay tuned for more.
So, let me ask you. Can I ask you one last question?
I haven't kept track. Yeah.
So, Tucker Carlson went after FBI Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. He criticized them while at the same time amplifying.
He did not mention Patel. He only mentioned Dan Bongino.
Yeah, but he mentioned the leadership, the two guys who were leading that. He said that, right? The two men leading it, right? Leading the FBI.
No, he said there's the political leadership and then there's the individuals that do the investigations. He bifurcated it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't go after Cash. Okay.
No, he did not mention Cash, only Bongino.
Okay. Okay. So Barry Weiss did exactly the opposite of what Tucker Carlson did in the when she rose to the ranks of CBS. She left New York Times, as Dana Losh was saying, and all that. We all know the story. Tucker Carlson's spiel has been to, he's been kind of like the man who speaks for Middle America, especially the young men, where Charlie Kirk was. When he uses language, like inflammatory language, like going after Bill Ackman, for instance, he became wealthy without being smart. That's the same kind of language he used to use in his show when, like, say, in the case of, say, the Bass Pro Shops, when they merged with Cabela's, for instance, and moved out of Middle America and shipped their manufacturing to China. He went hard after Ben Sass. I remember that. I watched that show. Ben Senator at the time in Nebraska. There's a common thread in him going after finance, like high finance in New York and Connecticut. That I can give him. But I'm still, besides being Jewish, there's another reason that I can't pin down that he's going after Barry Weiss the way he is. I don't get it, but I just sense that there's something here. You just don't do that.
It's called jealousy. And MG, you have to understand Barry Weiss, when she left the New York Times, she did so, because she was critical of Taylor Lorenz and a bunch of the underlings, the younger generation that were just chasing ideology and not reporting the facts, So she left. She formed her Substack newsletter. It got 100,000 subscribers. And then venture capitalists stepped in and gave her or provided $1 million for her to expand that digital property and that digital offering. And then that got the attention of David Ellison with Paramount Skydance. And David Ellison bought them out for $150 million. She built it from the ground up. It wasn't seed money from any other source other than VCs and entrepreneurs that invested in Barry Weiss and her wife or her husband or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call those couples. But in any event, the two of them were co-founders. They were highlighting and amplifying Douglas Murray and a bunch of other different individuals in the free press. And so the reason why David Ellison bought them out was because, as part of his portfolio, he had also done the Paramount Skydance thing. They had the CBS brand, and they're trying to expand the CBS brand digitally. And that's why Barry Weiss, when she got bought out of the free press, he put her in charge of the CBS brand for the digital content, because she proved that she can take something from scratch and build it out. And CBS has been a laggard as it relates to their online digital presence. And so that's the stuff that she had.
Would you say that Tucker struggles with the same? Or in this case,
No, I think it's exactly that, he calls out Bill Ackman. Why isn't he calling out Charlie Munger? Why isn't he calling out, Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha? Why isn't he calling out Kathy Wood? Why didn't he focus on Bill Ackman? They all do the same thing.
Because he didn't say, remember he said, I love Candace Owens. That was the term, that's the way he phrased it. He says he agrees with everything she says. And then he says, I love her. And then he calls her.
We were talking about why did he pick on Bill Ackman in particular, other than the fact that he's Jewish? You have Warren Buffett doing the same thing. You have Carl Icahn doing the same thing. An activist, more of an activist investor. But you have these investors, Kathy Wood and all that. They manage these big capital firms and they make investments on behalf of their clientele. And they, are pushing for 20, to exceed the return on investment that the stock market, that index funds offer.
I agree with Sunlight. I do. I just think that there's something more to the Barry Weiss kind of attack from Tucker Carlson than I'm seeing, than we're seeing.
She's a self-made successful woman in the industry, and he's got an issue with that, and then he also has an issue with, her support of Israel. Bottom line, that's it.
Also, too, y'all remember when Tucker got fired, nobody would touch him for quite a few years. And then he got the Fox News gig, got fired there, and then moved on. He never built beyond that level. He never built up in his career at all. He got an ego stroke from Elon when he left Fox News to come on X or take the money, and he decided to go with X because it would get 150 million followers very quickly. So that's how he made decisions. He's a talking head. basically. But he's never moved into management. He's never demonstrated that capability. If he had that capability, he would have been moving up the food chain. He didn't.
What do you mean he managed a huge show on Fox News for years that made him $100 million? The guy is incredibly successful.
But he was never in the executive level.
What, the guy in the suit in the control booth? The guy still is a businessman. I mean, it's so easy to, criticize Tucker Carlson, but for God's sakes, he's one of the only talking heads that point out anything of any real substantial interest.
What?
He's a businessman. I mean, it's so easy to, criticize Tucker Carlson, but for God's sakes, he's one of the only talking heads that point out anything of any real substantial interest.
Well, I would say that he's very biased. A lot of
Hold on, Southern. What interest, John, is it in discussing anything at all regarding some avant-garde person that nobody's ever met, which is the Shia KGB trained nun, allegedly from the West Bank, that beat up monks with Arafat, who nobody's heard of in 25 years? What strategic benefit was her interview? Or the Liberation Theology Lutheran priest, who's not a priest, but he's a pastor, supposedly from Bethlehem, that lied the entire interview with Tucker? What strategic benefit was bringing Robert? I'm sure you heard what I was saying. Were any of those interviews? What was the strategic benefit, for example, of bringing on Jeffrey Sachs 3 different times, never asking him anything about China, Russia, Iran, or anything like that? What was the strategic benefit of having Pezeshkian from Iran on his show and not asking a single time, why do you consistently chant death to America and walk on the American flag? Why did you kidnap U.S. hostages? Why did you launch a war? Why did we give you all this money for the GCPOA and you used it for your ballistic missile program? Why do you need to enrich to 60-something% if you have no desire to have any type of nuclear weapons? Why did you fund Hamas to do a terrorist attack and fund Hezbollah? Why does Hezbollah, Iranian-backed proxy, who's on every single State Department watch list in terms of individuals that should be taken out, why did you guys launch against Israel? Why did you fund that and destroy the Maronite Christian culture inside of Lebanon? Why did you do multiple targeted assassinations against Donald Trump? And even the golf thing, he could have just showed him when they put out a whole meme targeting Trump at the golf course that they were going to kill him while he's playing golf in Florida. He didn't ask him that. Why did he pretend to go to the Russian grocery store and he said, for $100, look at all the groceries that I bought, when in Russia they don't make enough money to even spend $100 on the groceries? Why did he promote that? Why didn't he promote the fact that Russia has done more subversive, targeted assassinations and subversion of the U.S. government 10 times the USS Liberty, what Russia's done to America? 10 times of it. 10 times. I have a whole thread on what the Russians did to us during the Soviet Union, and then I have the other thread that's after the Soviet Union. And not only in terms of espionage, but stealing money from us, hacking us. I mean, shooting down planes. I mean, shooting ships, taking U.S. soldiers hostage. Oh my God, it goes on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on. He never asked any of those questions. Why didn't he ask Robert Amsterdam on the other one? Why did he lie and ask Robert Amsterdam, the guy who was on his show, who he speaks to more offline than online? Why did he bring on Daryl Cooper in August, prior to the launch of the campaign for J.D. Vance and Trump, who's a Holocaust revisionist, who literally caused the entire administration to have to scramble to see whether or not they were going to allow themselves to go on Tucker's 16-week tour that was supposed to be promoting people from the cabinet for the rise. They had to have J.D. Vance, the president, all these people make statements, okay, including Don Jr. had to make statements because he brought on Daryl Cooper, who's basically talking the talking points of David Irving, who's been disproven not only legally in court in a defamation lawsuit, which he brought against a U.S. citizen, but there was a movie made about it called Denial. And there was 48 hours of single testimony from one expert on the lies from David Irving that Daryl Cooper just copies and has 1 million subscribers on Substack. And he's part of the Idaho Aryan Nation, who literally lied on his show the entire time, and Tucker didn't say anything about it. How about Jeffrey Sachs, a day after being on Tucker's show, goes and says the most horrific things about Trump in Turkey? Or how about him going then, he's a total globalist, and Chinese has had him on the show more. Why did he bring the commie guy from Ben & Jerry's on his show to just shit all over Trump and Israel? For no reason. I mean, you can give a million different examples.
Well, you sold me. You sold me.
Wait, there's this one interesting guy that he had on. Oh, this random pastor out of nowhere who's from like Minnesota or Michigan, who's I don't even know what to call him. He's not a Christian nationalist, but he's something else. I still can't figure out exactly what his denomination of Christianity is. Nobody can. Nobody's ever heard of him. He's got zero presence. He brought him on the show to have the strangest conversation about theology, which wasn't even accurate. Nobody understands
All
it
right,
either.
well, this isn't a religious debate. I'm merely pointing out that in America,
I'm not saying about religious. You said Tucker's the only person on anybody to talk about anything on his show.
I'll tell you why. You just gave us...
Dylan and maybe one other.
Try to breathe. Don't forget to breathe, otherwise you'll pass out.
Bitch, don't tell me to breathe just because you don't.
You can't stop talking. You asked me a question. Hello.
I don't need.
Hello.
Breathe. Don't forget to breathe, otherwise.
Bitch, don't tell me to breathe just because you don't. You haven't actually watched any of the podcasts. You can't tell me. You cannot. I don't need to breathe. You need to respond. You made a claim that he's the only one talking about anything important when he's the only one not talking about anything important with the most important voice. That is why you're telling me to breathe, because you can't answer a single thing because you've actually never really watched any of his podcasts. You only see a few of his clips online. So when you've spent hours debunking all his lies consistently that he's saying, even about the administration, why did he bring... He hates Nikki Haley. She's supposed to be the neocon. She brings on his son, who's an Indian kid, who grew up Sikh, then grew up as a evangelical Christian Protestant, who decides to convert to Catholicism. He brings him on to pimp him out, and they talk about immigration when the kid is wearing a Sikh bracelet on his hand. Like from the Sikh religion, you know, from Indian Sikh, he's wearing the bracelet. So the kid that's supposed to be America first, who doesn't want any immigration, okay, who's whatever his talking points are, he's still wearing his Sikh bracelet, while he's an Indian whose family benefited from immigration, while he's platforming him after this guy has shitted on his mom the whole time. You don't think that's strange? It's very bizarre. I'm sorry. I mean, wait, there's a whole other list of individuals. Should I pull up all the list of the strangest people he brought on?
George Stephanopoulos' sister?
No, I already talked about the Shia KGB nun. Here, let's bring up some more people, because I've completely discredited him on every single speaker that he brought up. Were you going to say something, Michael?
You are a female warrior, Stealth.
Bravo. Well, I'm destroy the conservative party, and he's trying to destroy MAGA. I mean, and he's
trying to discredit MAGA.
I'm going to buy a home in Qatar, and he flips off the camera with Neil Patel, and all their money is taken from the Pakistani Iranians through Qatar. Like, go fuck yourself. You're literally representing the Muslim Brotherhood who wants to kill us. That's insane.
Yeah, he's literally taunting conservatives.